Hello, welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's chapter of Age 1 by Olivia Julius. Chapter 16 Kidnapped. I woke up lying on my side as I laid on the cold ground. I couldn't see anything, and my pitch-black surroundings were silent and eerie. I slowly got up into a sitting position and realized that I wasn't wearing the dress or the bonnet anymore, instead I just wore my black bra and panties. I tried to move a little, but as I made my right leg move, I realized that I was being restrained by a large chain that was wrapped around my ankle. I tried to free myself, but it was no use, I was stuck. "Is someone there?" I asked in a weak, pitiful voice. I shivered from the cold and wondered why Kala wanted to kidnap me or what I was doing down here. "Yes," a girl's voice said somewhere in the darkness. I tried to adjust my eyes to see who the voice belonged to, but all I could see was darkness. "Who are you?" I asked. "Close your eyes, Lexi, the lights down here are bright, and I don't want to damage your eyes." I obediently closed my eyes tightly and the lights slowly turned on. I opened my eyes to find myself in what looked like a basement. The floors were covered in red Martian dust and the walls were made of Martian bricks. The lights were hanging down from the ceiling by small chains. The dress that I had worn was laying neatly folded on the other side of the room, out of reach of me. "I was told to take care of you till you wake up," the girl's voice said, even though I couldn't see her. "What am I doing down here?" I asked as I tried to move my wobbly legs to stand up. "I honestly don't know," the girl admitted. "My father only tells me what I need to know and no more." "Father?" I asked, "Is Peyton your father?" I saw some movement in the far corner and a girl walked out. It took me a second to remember her, but when I did my heart sank a little. "Sable?" I asked and the girl nodded silently. "Why did your dad have me brought here?" Sable backed up a step and I could tell that she was debating to herself whether she can tell me what she knows. "It's okay," I said softly. I could see Sable relaxing a little as she softly sighed. "Dad planned to kidnap you so he can force your father to surrender his ship," Sable said. I could feel my body turn ice cold. "Why?" I asked. "It's in the prophecy." "What prophecy?" I asked. My mind was racing at the information that was being given to me. Sable looked at me puzzled. "You don't know?" "No. I don't," I said, shaking my head. "It's been written that the ship of evil will arrive in the night sky and destroy Ares unless we can overtake it." She leaned on the wall, her eyes were tearing up. "Are you here to destroy us?" she asked, taking a handkerchief out of her pocket. "Of course not," I whispered. I couldn't help but also tear up a little bit. "Who said my ship was evil? Who wrote the prophecy?" Sable was about ready to tell me, but a loud bang in the distance made her stop and head back into the shadows. I heard footsteps walking towards me, and before I could see who was coming, the lights turned off, plunging me into complete darkness. I stepped back to the wall and slowly shrank down to the floor with my arms across my chest. Nothing about this was making sense. A door opened on the other side of the room and the lights turned on without any notice, hurting my eyes. I tried to look at who had entered, but I couldn't get my eyes to adjust to the blinding light. "Get up, Lexi," I heard Peyton's voice say. "What's going on?" I asked, sitting up but not standing up. Peyton came over to me and grabbed me by my bra and forced me up on my feet. I now saw the anger in Peyton's face, and I was truly afraid of what he might do to me. "Look, Lexi, here, you do what I tell you to do. If I tell you to stand up, you better stand up. If I tell you to take 3 steps, you better take those 3 steps. You are a girl and that means that you're nothing here," Peyton said before pushing me down to the floor. "Learn your place and get up." I looked at him in shock. Yesterday he seemed so nice to Dad and me. But today he's harsh and malicious. I slowly got up to my feet as I tried to hold back tears. My left arm hurt, and I could feel multiple scraps across my body as I moved. Peyton smiled and made a grin as I walked towards him, trying not to cry. "Good girl," he said. He then focused his attention on Sable, who was standing in a darkened corner of the room. "Sable, make sure she gets dressed. I want her ready for when I get back." Lexi and I have some business to discuss. Yes, Father, Sable said, doing a small bow of her head as Peyton left the room. Now out of the sight of Peyton, I slowly sat down on the floor with my head still stinging from being slapped. What does he mean by get ready? I asked after I checked out the arm I had landed on. Sable went over and grabbed the dress that I had been wearing and set it next to me. He means, to get you ready to go to the Capitol building. Sable said, we must hurry. She tried to hand me the dress, but I shook my head no. Why do I have to go to the Capitol for? I asked, what's going to happen to me there? I asked, but Sable just stayed quiet and didn't say anything. Instead, she put the dress down again and pulled up a small crate and sat down. Look, Lexi, I don't know. She said in a low voice, all I can say is that Father kills anyone who objects to his plans, so just tell him what he wants to know, and you'll be okay, okay? I nodded, but I didn't have any plan to tell Peyton anything. Sable placed an understanding hand on my shoulder as she stood up from the crate. I watched her with pitiful eyes as she walked over to the dress and picked it up and handed it to me. He wants you to dress like a girl from Aries Wood, so you'll have to take that thing off, she said, motioning to my bra. I looked down at it and was about to protest, but instead I just sighed and put my hands behind my back and unclasped the bra and then slid it down, showing Sable my naked breast. Sable took my bra from me and put it on the floor and gave me the dress, which I grabbed from her. I sighed a little and put the dress over my head and a loud drop over my body. Sable then walked over to me and grabbed my hair to put it into a bun. It felt weird wearing clothes while not wearing a bra. I could feel the weight of my breast hanging down from my chest. I crossed my arms over my chest just so I could have a chance to keep my breast from bouncing when I moved. What about shoes? I asked. Sable looked at me with a questionable look and then smiled with a little sense of understanding. She quickly lifts the bottom of her dress and showed that she was barefoot. Women are not allowed to wear shoes or sandals in Aries, she explained. I haven't worn shoes for 8 years. I watched Sable as she grabbed a few things from a crate on the other side of the room and came back handing me a bonnet. I took the bonnet from her, and she surprised me when she reached behind me and lifted my dress. What the? I asked, but Sable just shushed me. She reached up my dress and slid something in my panties. I looked at her oddly and she leaned in close to my ear. You might need it later, she whispered. I slowly reached out my hand to my butt crack and I could feel a plastic card. Sable put finger up to her mouth and I got the hint to be quiet about what had just happened. It took Peyton 5 minutes to get back to where we were. I held my breath as he ordered Sable to unlock the chain that was around my ankle. For a second, I thought I was going to be free from any restraints, but Peyton then grabbed my arm and forced my arm behind my back as he produced a pair of handcuffs and slapped them onto my wrist. Peyton then grabbed my arm, and I was pulled out of the room, up a set of stairs and outside where night had already fallen. Normally Mars was very peaceful during the night. I had read a lot of reviews about how Mars' night sky was more beautiful than Earth's since Mars had a smaller atmosphere. But I couldn't focus on the stars because once I got outside, I was greeted by a crowd of Aries inhabitants. I looked around at the villagers who were just staring at me. I tried to find Kahlo in the crowd, but I couldn't see him. My heart pounded, and I looked up at the sky half expecting to see Eagle One floating over Aries as Dad tried to save me, but there was nothing above the dome's windows. Move! Peyton ordered, pushing me outside the doorway and out to the front of the crowd. I took a shaky step forward and then another as I waved from the old warehouse building and into the street. Villagers lined the roads as they watched me walk. Most of them remained silent as they watched me pass, while others said insults and taunts my way as I walked down the road. Occasionally, to the delight of the crowd, Peyton would kick me and demand that I keep walking. It seemed like the further I went the crowd got more vicious. We finally reached the Capitol building where 2 guards opened the door allowing me entry. Beyond it I could see the statues of the old Aries leaders that Kahlo had shown me the day before. Which now seemed like decades ago. Peyton took the collar of the dress and forced me into a side door where a set of stairs went down into a basement. I hope you liked the night sky because that was the last time you will ever see it. He sneered as he threw me into a side room. The room was small and in the middle of one wall had what looked like a bio bed standing vertically. I panicked and tried to get out the grasp of Peyton, but he held on to me tightly. Please just let me go. I begged, but Peyton didn't say anything. Instead, 2 guards came up to me and grabbed a hold of my wrist as they removed the handcuffs. As soon as my hands were free, each guard took one of my arms and forced me over to the bio bed. Here, my arms and legs were shackled to the bed and my head was strapped down with a belt across my forehead. I struggled to get free, but it was no use, I was trapped. Peyton dismissed the guards out of the room, and I was left alone with Peyton. I tried to look around, but I couldn't move my head and I was forced to look at a blank screen on the opposite side of the room. Please don't struggle, Lexi. Once you tell me what I want to know, I'll let you go, and I promise you will be famous here in Ares. Peyton lied. I promise you will be one of the few females to hold power in Ares. Yay, but what will happen to the people on Eagle One? I asked. Peyton stopped for a second and turned to me. They already made their decision when they entered that ship 500 years ago and condemned my people to die here on this rock. He said. We had no choice. I said, trying to plead my case, but Peyton just glared at me. I guess we'll find out, won't we? He said, smirking.